Hi, I'm Contessa Brewer. Thank you for joining us. A computer glitch that caused nationwide airport delays has been resolved, but the damage is done. Late Wednesday night, thousands of passengers across the country endured long waits at customs after the system that matches terror watch list names with passengers malfunctioned. We're told the system is back online and airports are trying to deal with the backlog of passengers. After it developed, I spoke on the phone with transportation correspondent Chris Van Cleve.
Is the computer issue had to do with the ability to check names against watch lists, the flight secure watch list in particular, which is one that airlines check names against, customs checks names against, and sources are telling us that it was a router issue that went down, that brought the system down. There is a manual way to check this, but it is time intensive, and the understanding from sources at the Department of Homeland Security is that customs requires the system to be operating to process people through. So if the system went down, they're not able to process people through, and if they have to do it manually, you can imagine that takes a lot of time. So that's why we've been seeing backups. What I'm hearing is that the system is in the process of coming back online, and that they're beginning to get this working again. So it should be something that resolves, the officials hope, fairly quickly. But it sounds like this was a computer glitch, similar to what we saw with United earlier this year, where they had a computer router go down, and then they weren't able to get instructions to their pilots, so their planes couldn't take off. In this case, customs couldn't check names against a watch list, and that makes it very hard to verify people coming into the country.
Or just this week when Southwest was having to manually write tickets and it caused massive delays across the nation. Is there any indication now, because of this computer glitch, Chris, how widespread this problem is? Is it at every international airport where you would have customs operating?
I don't have a specific list of airports. We have heard, and we've been able to glean through social media, that a number of major airports were impacted. The officials I spoke to said, they expected JFK would likely be the most impacted. JFK Airport in New York would likely feel it the hardest, but that also is one of the largest hubs for international travel in the U.S., so that would stand to make sense. But what we've heard is that there have been issues reported from passengers at Dallas-Fort Worth, as well as JFK and other major airport hubs where you would see a heavy volume of customs.
In New York, WCBS interviewed someone by phone who's waiting in line at JFK, in a very long line apparently, and the woman said that they've been told now that the computers are back online. Can you confirm that they have figured out what the problem is and that they're going to be able to start processing some of this backlog of passengers?
What I've been told is that the system is coming back up, yes, that the issue is being resolved or has been resolved, and they expect to be able to get back into processing people and moving people through. Of course, if you've not been able to do that for however long this issue's gone on, you're going to have that much bigger of a line of people to go through.
Well, and I suppose they were being extraordinarily cautious in manually processing these folks, because if you're checking names against a terror watch list, you don't want to let anything slip by.
Right, and I'm honestly not clear on necessarily how you do that at every checkpoint, every customs checkpoint at a major airport. So it may be that they just decided that no one was going to get cleared until the system was back up and running, and they could do it in a more systemic fashion. We know that the airlines, whenever you buy a ticket, also have to check against this list, and if it's a name, particularly if it's a common name that appears on the watch list, that's got to get looked at. So that process was being done manually as well. So certainly this is not how the system is supposed to operate. What we're hearing from sources at the Department of Homeland Security is that it was a router issue and that it has been resolved or is being resolved as we speak. And what you've heard from that passenger seems to corroborate that the system's coming back online.
All right, Chris Van Cleve, thank you for the reporting there.